Salah's new club. The Liverpool legend says goodbye to Anfield. Carlo Ancelotti's shocking sacking. Why has Real Madrid lost faith in him? Ten Hag is making a comeback. Arsenal's first big transfer. Ronaldo to extend his contract with Al Nassr. His new terms will leave you stunned. All this and more in today's episode. If this video gets 500 thumbs up, it will motivate us to keep creating new content. So, enjoy the watching and let's get started. Carlo Ancelotti risks being shown the door at Real Madrid earlier than expected. According to rumors in the Spanish press, Florentino Perez had a serious, some even say harsh, conversation with the coach following the humiliating thrashing by Barcelona in the Supercopa. The mood at the club, as reported, is one of growing concern, and honestly, it's understandable. It seems like Papa Carlo, to put it gently, is losing his edge. Key matches and crucial battles are becoming increasingly difficult for the team. And with spring approaching, bringing the decisive stages of the Champions League and the race for the La Liga title, every misstep could prove fatal. Can you picture the scene? Perez sitting in his office, staring at the Real Madrid crest and thinking, is it time for a change? And then, boom, a potential replacement's name surfaces, Santiago Solari. Remember his brief but, let's say, memorable stint as head coach? It's not the first time his name has popped up in the press whenever a potential Ancelotti departure is discussed. Something tells us Perez has him bookmarked, so to speak, just in case. If we strip away all the chatter and intrigue, it seems Real Madrid isn't exactly doubting that Ancelotti can see the season through without disaster. But here's the catch. Being merely good enough isn't sufficient for a club like Real. You have to be the best, you see? And this is where doubts appear to be brewing within the leadership. Even Ancelotti himself, according to sources, admits that things are starting to slip out of control. That said, let's not forget how often matches between Real Madrid and Barcelona have served as a litmus test for the state of affairs at the club. There have been times when Real, after suffering an embarrassing loss to Barca, went on to win both La Liga and the Champions League. But on the other hand, El Clásico is always more than just a match for points. It's about image, prestige, and defeats like the one in the Supercopa hurt the pride of both fans and the management. So, back to the question of whether Ancelotti should be sacked. Honestly, it's hard to say off the cuff whether that's the right move or not. On the one hand, who can argue that Ancelotti is a seasoned veteran? A coach with immense experience who has seen it all in football. On the other, the facts speak for themselves. In recent key matches, the team hasn't been delivering. And as we've discussed before, a managerial change can sometimes be like a breath of fresh air, a new spark for the team. It's not uncommon for a squad to start playing as if from a clean slate after a coaching shakeup. Perhaps that's exactly what Real needs right now to finish the season strong. And there's another point to consider. Let's be honest. How much longer is Ancelotti likely to stay at Real Madrid regardless of how things pan out? Chances are, he'll be replaced this summer anyway. There are plenty of reasons for that, so maybe for Carlo himself, this wouldn't be the worst outcome. They could move him into some honorary position with fewer stresses, something that, at his age, might be worth considering. What do you think, folks? Would sacking Ancelotti benefit Real Madrid, or would it be a mistake by Florentino Perez? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think. Despite the flood of criticism and rumors, it turns out Real Madrid's management has no immediate plans to fire Ancelotti. The club still views him as an important figure and, naturally, would prefer to keep him as long as the team continues to win trophies. According to the reputable Spanish outlet AS, any drastic decisions are unlikely to happen soon, even though trust in the coach has, as they say, wavered. Perez, it seems, isn't a fan of making rash moves mid-season. Moreover, Perez already has a candidate lined up for the summer, Xabi Alonso, the current coach of Bayer Leverkusen. Ancelotti, let's not forget, has a contract until mid-2026, but as AS writes, he's now essentially on a trial period. His first test will be the Copa del Rey round of 16 match against Celta Vigo at the Bernabeu this Thursday. In short, there are plenty of questions surrounding Ancelotti's future, and a contract until 2026 doesn't guarantee peace of mind. But as we can see, no one is rushing into drastic measures. Still, the cumulative 9-2 scoreline from two Clásicos this season certainly doesn't inspire optimism. The club, as reported, is struggling to digest these defeats, but the packed schedule leaves little room for drastic reactions. Even so, friends, 2 losses to Barcelona with such a lopsided aggregate score is a serious blow to Perez's pride. So, what do you think, friends? Whose side are you on in this situation? What's next for Carlo Ancelotti? And don't forget to give this post a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the latest football news. Remember, in the last video, we talked about potential transfers? Well, the situation with Rashford is probably the hottest topic right now. It seems like the guy is getting ready to pack his bags and rumors are spreading like wildfire across Europe. So, what's going on? Here's the scoop, friends. The 27-year-old forward appears to be seriously considering a change of scenery. Sure, he's under contract with Manchester United until 2028, but something tells us that the Red Devils won't stand in his way if a good offer comes along. Some might call this nonsense, while others might breathe a sigh of relief because, let's be honest, Rashford's performances lately have been, to put it mildly, questionable. And to be fair, we've also been wondering, is it time for Marcus to seek a new challenge? He himself hinted at this back in December. And now, guess what? There's already a lineup for him, folks. Tottenham, West Ham, Barcelona, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. But here's the most intriguing part. According to Sky Germany, Borussia Dortmund has their eye on Rashford. What's more, Dortmund's sporting director, Sebastian Kehl, has reportedly already held a secret meeting with the players' camp. Picture this. They're sitting somewhere in a quiet spot, discussing how to lure one of United's stars to the Bundesliga. Borussia, AC Milan, Juventus, they're all negotiating, all want Rashford. And if the press is to be believed, Dortmund might actually be leading the race. Honestly, Borussia could be a great option for Marcus. They've already got experience working with English talents. Remember Jadon Sancho. Granted, Sancho was younger, while Rashford is more in his prime. But who knows, maybe Dortmund is exactly where Marcus could reignite his career. Personally, I wouldn't be surprised if this transfer actually happens. However, there's one catch. Rumor has it that Rashford himself prefers a move abroad rather than transferring to another Premier League club. But, as they say, there are complications with his wages. Borussia might be eager to sign Marcus, but financial constraints are in the way, you see. Yes, they have a good relationship with Manchester United. Look at how they brought in Sancho on loan and everyone was happy. But pulling off the same trick with Rashford seems unlikely. United will probably demand a full transfer rather than a loan deal. Sure, the club might be willing to cover part of his salary just to get him off the books, but they'd also want financial gain from the deal. And let's not forget, his current form isn't exactly stellar, as we all know. Losing a homegrown player would be a blow to United's reputation, and letting him go to a European club might feel like an even bigger failure. It's a tangled situation, to say the least. So, what's the verdict? Rashford's situation is turning into a full-blown drama series, and we'll be following every episode with you. Will he join Borussia or choose another club? Or maybe he'll stay at United and prove that it's too early to write him off. What do you think? Where should Marcus go? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell us whose side you're on. Chelsea slaps a £65 million price tag on Christopher Nkunku, thanks to Bayern Munich's interest. You're probably thinking, wait, Nkunku, the same one the Blues bought from RB Leipzig for £52 million last summer. Yes, folks, that's the one. And according to the latest news from Germany, Chelsea wouldn't mind making a profit on this deal. Honestly, we're asking ourselves the same question. Are they really ready to part ways with him already? Personally, I find it hard to believe it's that simple. The Athletic, for instance, claims that Chelsea wants no less than £65 million for the French international, who, by the way, still has 4 years left on his contract. Interestingly, despite only making 3 Premier League appearances this season, Nkunku remains Chelsea's top scorer with 13 goals. Granted, 11 of those were scored in other competitions, the Conference League, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. Reports also suggest that Nkunku wants to be a regular starter because he dreams of becoming a key player for France at the 2026 World Cup. And now, lo and behold, there's interest from the Germans. Interestingly, this coincides with Chelsea's interest in Bayern's forward, Mathys Tel. However, there's no talk of a swap deal yet. If any transfers happen, they'll be separate. Tel, by the way, can play both on the wing and as a mobile striker, which actually fits Enzo Maresca's system better, as he prefers wingers, as we mentioned before. Fabrizio Romano previously confirmed that Chelsea views Tel as an ideal acquisition, but it turns out Tel recently confirmed his desire to stay under Vincent Kompany. So there's that. This, to put it mildly, casts doubt on his potential move. And the cherry on top, it's said that Christopher Nkunku is desperate to leave Chelsea this month. And guess what? Bayern Munich is genuinely interested in Nkunku. They've reportedly already agreed on a long-term contract with him. Negotiations are currently underway between Chelsea and Bayern. According to The Telegraph, Chelsea is adamant that Nkunku needs to be replaced with a new forward this month. Ideally, they want a right-sided forward who can also play on the left and through the middle. The Blues have been tracking Tel for a long time and first approached him last summer. And, as they say, Chelsea has since returned with a new offer amid negotiations with Bayern over Nkunku. Bayern's sporting director, Max Ebel, has named Nkunku as the main target for this transfer window. Some might say it's nonsense, while others might disagree. Here's what actually happened. Nkunku was forced to accept a backup role under Maresca, and now the 27-year-old, according to reports from Germany, is set to leave Stamford Bridge this month. If the press is to be believed, Bayern has already agreed on personal terms with Nkunku, who is eager to return to the Bundesliga. Honestly, it's hard to understand how Nkunku's Chelsea career has turned out this way. A serious injury sustained in pre-season effectively wiped out the first half of his debut campaign. There were hopes that things would be different this season, but the 27-year-old has unexpectedly found himself sidelined amid fierce competition for a place in the squad. Last season's injury and this season's lack of playing time have led to a strange impasse in Nkunku's perception. He's not considered a star player, could easily be deemed expendable, and it's possible people have already forgotten how good he is. So, what's the takeaway? Allowing one of the few truly elite players to leave, even in exchange for a player who could become elite, in my opinion, demonstrates a lack of short-term ambition and tactical flexibility. Bayern is adding another top-class forward to their arsenal, while Chelsea is ready to let go of a potential game-changer at a crucial moment when they're desperately trying to get back into the Champions League. So, what awaits Nkunku and Chelsea? What do you think this will all lead to? Let's discuss it together in the comments. Share your thoughts, folks! If the rumors are true, Arsenal is close to signing Martin Zubimendi from Real Sociedad, a player who has been on the radar of nearly every top club, including Liverpool and Manchester City, now seems to be choosing the Gunners. £51 million. That's quite a hefty sum. But if you've seen how this guy dominates the midfield in Spain, it might just be worth it. Technical, intelligent, tenacious. I'm sure many of you who follow La Liga know exactly who we're talking about. And here's the most interesting part. Last year, Liverpool already tried to lure him away, but Zubimendi, loyal to his club, decided to stay. Now, after 6 months of exceptional performances, it seems he's ready for a new challenge, and that challenge, by the looks of it, is going to be Arsenal. Arteta has openly admitted he's looking for reinforcements in attack, but here's the twist. It seems Zubimendi is being considered as a replacement for Partey and Jorginho, whose contracts are set to expire this summer. A kind of investment in the future, a step toward rejuvenating the midfield. Arteta doesn't just see Zubimendi as a holding midfielder, but as a player who can spark attacks and deliver clever passes. This guy isn't just a ball-winning destroyer, he's got creative potential too. Something tells me Arteta knows exactly what he's doing. By the way, if the reports are to be believed, Arsenal even tried to sign Zubimendi during this transfer window, but Real Sociedad stood firm. They need their star until the summer. That said, it's highly likely that Arsenal will trigger his £51 million release clause in the summer. The deal seems to be just a matter of time. And this immediately brings to mind the transfer of Mikel Merino from the same Real Sociedad. See how Arsenal maintains such good relations with this club? Maybe there's some kind of secret pact in place. Just kidding, of course. Now, let's indulge in a little imagination. Picture Zubimendi playing alongside Rice and Ødegaard. Sounds like a powerhouse midfield, doesn't it? But of course, for now, this is just a rumor. We all know how it goes. Yesterday, a player is one step away from joining a club, and today, he's being unveiled in the jersey of a rival. Still, you've got to admit, the news is more than intriguing. So here I am, sitting and wondering, what do you guys think of this potential signing? Do you believe this transfer will happen? And does Arsenal even need another holding midfielder? Cristiano Ronaldo. You know, sometimes it seems like everything has already been said about this guy. But no, he manages to throw more fuel on the football fire yet again. And you know what kind of fuel? The hottest kind. According to Saudi media, Cristiano intends to stay at Al Nassr for another season. And here, of course, the first question that just drills into your brain is, how much is he going to rake in for this? Because let's be honest, the interest in the Saudi league is, well, it's peculiar. It's more like some kind of expensive theatrical production, where the main star is this very Cristiano. And, as reported, he will receive, sit down if you're standing, 200 million euros per season. Honestly, football, in terms of contracts, has been somewhere in outer space for a long time, and you're sitting there scratching your head and thinking, is that a lot or a little? On the one hand, if you compare it with Khvicha Kvaratskhelia newly minted contract at PSG, where he will receive only 8 million a year, then it's, of course, an abyss. Cristiano will receive in one season what Khvicha will get in 25 years. But on the other hand, remember that rumor about Vinicius's billion-dollar contract? Here, 200 million looks somewhat more modest. You have to agree. By the way, if you convert those 200 million into a weekly figure, it comes out to about 4 million euros. Can you imagine? Cristiano will earn in 2 weeks what Khvicha will have to toil for a whole year at PSG. And after that, we're still discussing some kind of Ronaldo comeback to Europe. Why would he need that when such huge sums of money are falling into his lap? Yes, let's not hide it. The sheikhs with their sums have, of course, turned football upside down. Remember, how did it all start? With PSG buying Neymar for a cosmic 222 million, and then it all took off. Speaking of Neymar, you won't believe it, but according to statistics, he now earns even more than Ronaldo in Saudi Arabia. If you take the total amount of his contract and divide it by the number of matches he managed to play for Al Hilal, and there were, frankly, not many of them, it turns out to be somewhere around 40 million euros per game. It sounds, of course, like some kind of fantastic nonsense, but if you calculate the arithmetic mean, that's how it turns out. However, let's return to our main character, and here and I'm sure many of you, have a logical question. Are there any prospects at all for this Saudi league? Honestly, we have serious doubts here. Something tells us that at some point, these sheikhs will simply get tired of playing these expensive games, they will abandon all this, and interest in this championship will fade away. You can, of course, like Ronaldo himself, declare at every corner that the level of football there is already higher than in France, but we, guys, understand perfectly well what is really happening there and what motivates the players who pack their bags and fly to warm shores for the long dollar. But okay, let's get back to the facts. So, according to the press, Cristiano will sign a contract until June 2026, and his current agreement expires this summer. It turns out that for at least another year, we will be watching his performances in the Saudi Arabian Championship. And he, by the way, turns 40 next month. Interestingly, according to rumors, Ronaldo didn't just decide to stay. Allegedly, he demanded guarantees from the club's management that money would be invested in the team to make it more competitive. And here, another interesting detail appears. Cristiano is personally asking Al Nassr to sign Casemiro. And here, questions arise for Manchester United, where Casemiro is currently playing. Allegedly, the Red Devils are not averse to getting rid of his salary, and Saudi Arabia is right there with its offers. So it is quite possible that in the near future we will see the Ronaldo-Casemiro duo on the field again. And finally, I want to note that rumors linked Ronaldo with other clubs, including Al Hilal, where Neymar is now showing off. But apparently, Cristiano wanted to compete with the Brazilian rather than play with him on the same team. And this, in my opinion, speaks volumes. This guy still craves to win and prove that he is the best, even at 40. What do you think? Will the magic of football fade behind so many zeros on bank accounts? Write your thoughts in the comments. It seems we might be witnessing a very intriguing managerial shuffle at Borussia Dortmund. You're probably thinking right now, what, again? And you know what? I'm totally with you on that. It felt like Nuri Sahin had just started settling into his role. And then, bam! If we're to believe the German press, particularly Sky Germany, there's a highly interested observer keeping a close eye on the bumblebees. His name? Erik ten Hag. And here's the kicker, it looks like this guy hasn't been wasting any time. According to reports, Ten Hag isn't just sitting at home binge-watching shows and nursing his wounds after being sacked. Oh no, my friends. It turns out he's been frequenting Dortmund's stadium and, wait for it, even chatting with some of the club's key figures. We're talking about director Sven Mislintat and none other than Matthias Sammer himself. At this point, a light bulb immediately goes off in my head. Aha! After all, we remember it was Sammer who once brought a young, promising Ten Hag to Bayern, where he coached the reserves. Old connections, as they say, never die. And that leads to a very logical question. Could Ten Hag be eyeing Sahin's position? On the one hand, it seems a bit early to write off Nuri Sahin. The man's just getting started. Let's give him some credit. But on the other hand, let's be honest. Dortmund's results lately have been, to put it mildly, unimpressive. 9th place in the Bundesliga? That's not exactly what the Bumblebee faithful had in mind. And that's where Ten Hag's figure looms large. What I particularly love about this story is all the behind-the-scenes drama, the intrigue, the maneuvering. Picture this: Ten Hag sitting in the stands, watching the game, exchanging a few words with Sammer, and quietly crafting a master plan to take the reins. Still, let's not jump the gun. For now, they say Sahin's position isn't under immediate threat. He still has the club's trust. For now, being the operative phrase, in my opinion. If Dortmund keeps stumbling, questions about the head coach will inevitably arise, and when that happens, well, Ten Hag might just be the man ready to take the torch. Personally, I'm watching all of this unfold with great interest. Ten Hag is a coach with character and a clear vision for football. If he does end up at Dortmund, it could be a bold and fascinating move. So here I am, sitting and wondering, what's next? Will Sahin withstand the criticism and pressure? Will Dortmund turn to a proven specialist like Ten Hag if things go south? Or could an entirely unexpected candidate emerge from the shadows? What do you think? Could we really see Ten Hag on Dortmund's bench in the near future? And how do you feel about this potential turn of events? So the Saudi press is dropping some insider news that Mohamed Salah will leave Liverpool this summer as a free agent and head off to shine in one of the teams in Saudi Arabia. Can you imagine? They're saying Mo has already signed some sort of preliminary agreement. But here's the craziest part. The guy apparently doesn't even know which team he'll be playing for yet. Sounds like something out of a surreal story, doesn't it? But honestly, I'm not even a bit surprised. Here's the thing. You have to understand how things work over there. For those who don't know, 4 top clubs, Al Hilal, Al Ittihad, Al Nasser and Al Ahly, are essentially owned by the same Saudi Arabian public investment fund. So in reality, the local leadership doesn't particularly care which club lands the next superstar. The primary goal is for them to play in their league and generate as much buzz as possible, what's trendy to call hype these days. So whether Mo ends up signing for Al Nasser alongside Ronaldo, Al Hilal, or somewhere else, it's more a matter of logistics than anything else. And you know what adds even more fuel to the fire? Salah has recently been complaining in the press about his contract. Apparently Liverpool isn't exactly eager to meet his financial demands. And, as the saying goes, the pieces of the puzzle are falling into place. It seems the money on offer in Saudi Arabia is absolutely massive. Just think about it. There are rumors that the Egyptian could become the highest paid footballer in the world. And that, by the way, might even surpass the jaw-dropping €200 million reportedly being offered to Ronaldo for extending his contract. In comparison, any offer from Liverpool would obviously look, well, laughable. If money truly is Salah's #1 priority, then, as they say, there's no need to guess. It's just a matter of time before we hear that he's packing his bags this summer. Although, personally, I don't really want to believe it. Of course, Salah's departure would be a huge loss for Liverpool. There's no arguing that. But, as the saying goes, when one door closes, another one opens. Who knows what new star the club might uncover? After all, not many believed in Salah himself once. Chelsea fans, for example, can back me up on that one. Here's another interesting twist. The Spanish publication Fichajes is reporting that Al Ittihad is currently the front-runner to sign the Egyptian and is prepared to make him the highest-paid player on the planet. What do you think about that, folks? Let's not forget that Mo is still in his prime. And now, this situation with his contract. Liverpool, it seems, is hesitant to pay huge money to a player who will turn 33 this June. There's a certain logic to that, of course, but what about his skill and talent? Now here's the most alarming part. Salah can already negotiate with other clubs, and naturally, there's no shortage of interest. And this is where I start to get a bit uneasy. Could it really be that serious? So far, no major or highly credible source has confirmed this. But something tells me that Al Hilal, for example, would definitely love to have the Egyptian maestro in their squad. It would be strange if they didn't, wouldn't it? And they have the financial power to make it almost impossible for him to refuse. By the way, have you ever considered that Salah's agreement might not be with a specific club, but with the Saudi government as a whole? In other words, he could have agreed to play in their league, but they haven't yet decided which team he'll join. A sort of transfer by decree. Sounds like science fiction, doesn't it? But in modern football, as we've seen time and time again, anything is possible. For now, it's all rumors and very little concrete information. And you shouldn't believe everything you hear, of course. Sources can sometimes be far from accurate. But the fact remains, Salah's contract extension with Liverpool is stalling, and that, understandably, leads to some somber thoughts. So, what do you think, folks? Where do you see this going?